This ESPN podcast is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com.
The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects. The BS Report. The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report here on location. Alex Morgan, Abby Wambach. World Cup coming up, 2015. When is it? Early June?
Yeah, starts early.
Does it feel like 4 years since the last one?
Yes and no. No and yes. We're just going to repeat each other.
Yeah. Well, it feels like it has kind of been a long time, but just in the fact that we haven't been on that stage in quite a while, but it still feels like it was yesterday with the defeat that we had against Japan. So
you had probably the most famous women's soccer game other than the Brandy Chastain game, where you win.
Because of this noggin.
Right. An amazing goal. Like, really, I watched that goal with my daughter on YouTube. We watched it live, but she doesn't remember it. But the odds of that goal, like, first of all, the cross has to be perfect for midfield. The header has to be perfect. The defenders have to jump at the wrong time. You have to jump at the right time. Like, what are the odds of that goal happening? Like 1 in 1,000?
I don't know what the technical math odd would be, but I do know they were slim. And just based on what was going on in the game, the whole red card, we're down a man, we're in double overtime.
A cheap red card, we should mention.
Yeah,
not a great call.
They're stalling and wasting as much time as possible, which came back to bite them because the referee gave us an extra couple minutes and extra time of the overtime, which is very rare. So everything kind of had to perfectly work out. And then Pino just sends a bomb in the box, and all I kept doing was hoping it would get over the defender and goalkeeper's hands.
Is that like as far as somebody can do a cross that leads to a header? Like,
that was like a 50-yard cross.
Yeah, it was like almost midfield.
It was very far, but I saw it the whole way, and I know Pino maybe knew that I was in there, and it's kind of one of those Hail Mary pass sort of moments, but I just kept thinking, don't mess this up. Because if it goes over, I'm wide open, and all I need to do is basically tap it in.
Wait, so you guys you played basketball too, right, a little bit?
When I was
way back when?
Way young, yeah.
What's the basketball equivalent of that shot? Like making a mid-court shot with a second left?
A
70-foot
so
shot?
it's having half second left and receiving the ball and just going for it. Yeah,
like a 70-footer?
Yeah, it's the Leitner shot, you know?
Right, but if it was from mid-court.
Ish. Like, the thing is Leitner was close enough. I was close enough. The pass is probably more difficult than the actual finish itself, but under the circumstances when time is basically running out.
I like the Leitner shot comparison. That's a good one.
I just actually watched that 30 for 30 the other day. So
you know what's interesting? That was a good one.
Yeah.
I think people, now that time has passed, some people probably think we won the World Cup. Because that game was so memorable. I think people only remember that game and they don't remember what happened next. So
even when it happened, like when we got home after the final, we went to Times Square and
everyone was so bummed.
Everybody was like, but when we got off I don't know if you remember this, when we got off the bus, I was like, guys, like what are all these people doing?
So many fans
and there were thousands of people waiting for us outside the hotel, and I was like, wait, they're here for us, but we didn't. They know we didn't win, right?
Right.
And it was all because of the buzz from that Brazil game, and Japan having had the tsunami months before, it was almost like fated for them to win in certain ways. And even though we were devastated, we kind of grew the game and kind of catapulted women's soccer back into the mainstream popular.
I think
culture.
A lot of teams did, though. I think Japan did as well. Mm-hmm. In their country, they had so many fans just come on board from that quarterfinal when they beat Germany, and now you just see the league having a better attendance. I think there's been so much more Japanese media, even just so much more concentrated in women's soccer that wasn't before.
Yep.
When you guys left for the World Cup, it wasn't. I mean, there was a little buzz for the team, but it did seem like that was a galvanizing moment, especially on social media. I think Twitter had really gotten going like 2 years before, but I remember that was like a great Twitter moment.
Yeah,
it seemed like everybody was watching for whatever reason, and when that happened, it was like, boom.
And it's so interesting you say that, because for us, we talked a lot during that time period that we wanted to stay inside of our bubble.
Yeah.
And no matter what happened, good or bad, we wanted to stay inside of our bubble, because we lost a game in that tournament to actually play Brazil in the quarterfinals. Mm-hmm. So we didn't want to let the outside positive or negative affect us in any way, shape, or form. We just needed to go do what we did. And even that game, we all had stories. We all saw the videos of people in bars watching, celebrating that last second goal. And we had one meeting to talk about it. And it was like, everybody get your story out. And after the meeting was done, it was like, okay, that's now in the past, and we move forward.
Was Japan better than you?
I've always said from the moment after the game that was 2 championship teams. I mean, and they're the ones that got the World Cup at the end of the day. They're standing at the top of the podium. But I think we were just as deserving as them with the play with the product we put on the field. But that's the way the game goes.
We had better chances. We should have been 4-0 in the first half.
Right.
In my opinion. At least 3.
But they capitalized on their chances. And
they did.
Yeah.
I mean, Sawa, she literally scored a goal. Her eyes were completely shut.
And that's the way the game goes for...
They were shut.
But, I mean, for a team who's always coming back from being down a goal, we were ahead, and then they came back, and then we were ahead, and then they came back. So they had that... just that confidence going into
spirit.
Going into the PKs. I feel like they had come back twice and they're like, we're not going to lose this.
Totally.
And I think that's exactly what we had
in Brazil.
Going against Brazil.
I also think that the Japanese goalkeeper knew exactly where some of our kickers were going. So
we had just
that gives them an edge in the penalty kick, But at the end of the day, they beat us. They
when
won.
When you say they know, like reading the body language or just how
we
you
just
line
played Brazil
up?
and going to penalty kicks against Brazil, and so for those players who kicked, the goalkeeper saw and is now scouted all of our kickers. So she knows where we went, and we didn't switch it up. Right.
It seems like more people go left than right, right? If you're a righty kicker,
80% of people go across their body. It's just a more natural way of kicking. So
if you push it right, then all kinds
just
of bad
a little
things
bit more unnatural. So it's more unlikely for kickers to go that way.
Yeah.
I will say, as a parent of somebody who plays soccer, and we were in a penalty kick situation, it was the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever been through in my entire life.
Yeah, my
and
mom
I can't even imagine when it gets to your level, but
my mom is in the concourse. She can't even watch. She's in the concourse pacing. My mom.
And
I don't know what your mom and dad do.
And people just it hits people different ways, but like, I mean, you just see girls like it's like a dribble. Like they can't. It's so much pressure.
In the Olympics, when I had to take the penalty against Canada, and then Alex scores the game winner with her head, my mom, she couldn't watch, and she was just praying, and my grandmother had just recently passed away, so she was like, Mom, I know you're up there just praying. My sister was like, Mom, it's just a game, because she doesn't know if I'm going to miss it or make it.
Right.
And if I don't make it, then, we don't continue on. But
is it... It always seems like they'll call it sometimes, but not all the time. But the goalie can jump early.
No, I mean, you're supposed to stay on your line
until the ball's hit.
Yeah.
But it seems like a lot of times they're jumping and they just...
Well, Hope saved it against Brazil. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember.
She saved the ball, and the referee called her back and gave her a yellow card.
But then after the game, they said it was something like Christy went in the box before.
But she showed. I mean, it was such a weird experience.
Yeah.
So I was at the gold medal game.
You were
in Wembley in 2012, and I mean, I'm sure you played in all kinds of stadiums, but it was like intimidating just to be there as a fan. It was the hugest stadium, and the field seemed like 2 soccer fields put together. Like, do you even see that stuff anymore when you go out there? Or?
I don't.
I mean, I do remember in the Olympic final, there was a lot of Japanese fans, and they were rooting, he panned. And like, there was one moment, I think maybe in the second half, where I let myself kind of hear that, and then I brought myself back into the game. I think it was like 2 seconds or something. That's the only time I remember thinking, wow, there's a lot of people here, until the end of the game when we were receiving the gold medals. But that was the only time during the game I thought.
Do you hear the crowds, Abby, or no?
No, I don't. I don't hear them. I don't even hear our coaches, when they're trying to yell stuff.
Well, you can't. I mean,
it's so loud, number one. Number two, it's like I got my own stuff going on right now.
Right.
Like, I can't worry about what the fans are cheering or what the other team is even doing. I'm worrying about like the whole collective group of our team, and if everything is moving in the right direction, and if people are in the right positions, and if I'm doing what I'm needing to be doing for my team to win.
So you guys are part of this legacy that I think started with Mia Hamm. You played with her. It was like a little weird torch passing in ways. You played professionally with her. Now you guys play together. Do you guys feel that? There's like some sort of lineage? Like, wait, you're 9 years older?
Yeah.
And Mia was what, 9, 10 years older than you?
She was 8 years older than me.
Yeah.
I'm 9 years older than Al. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Mia was such an integral part, not just in my success, but the creation and kind of putting women's soccer on the map in the world. You know, I'm not even going to say the country. Putting Nike soccer on the map, literally, and making women's sports kind of one of the things that we could look up to and be like, wow, I want to do that. And she did that for me when I was, 16, 17, 18, 19, gave me the opportunity to look up to somebody that was doing something that I did.
But she gave you a kick in the ass too, right?
Oh, sure. She wasn't always the nicest person in the world. She could definitely...
Didn't she talk about like, are you ready to take this seriously now? Or
Well, no. I think that the thing that Mia did most was she knew that I had thick skin, so she could yell at me and I could take it. And I've always kind of been that one person that if you needed to yell, great. I mean, I actually do better with like negative reinforced criticism. And she just was so great for me on the field, and then off the field, she would always circle back around, make sure I was doing all right, because I was still 22, 23 years old when we played together. And I'm a different person than Mia, but I like to think that I've helped Alex become the best player she can be.
Yeah. Does she yell you?
In some small way,
I think we can yell at each other sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we're very honest with each other, and we keep each other honest, and that's a good thing. That's a good relationship to have on the field.
Yeah, I think that we trust each other and have confidence. And so when you have that trust and confidence, all the other stuff is secondary. It's like sometimes I can clap my hands and be like, Alex, come on. And she knows that that's coming from like I believe in you. I need you to do better. Or I need you to score a goal for us, because that's what's being asked of you right now.
That's a media internet thing where when teammates don't seem like they're getting along, or there's like a moment, people get bent out of shape, but it's usually people who didn't really play sports.
Right.
So it's like, it's part of the process. You're going to get mad at people.
For sure.
You're like, hey, come on, or we screwed that up, and you're going to talk it out. It's not like you hate each other.
No, we're
and
like
in
siblings,
the moment,
Yeah.
you're not able to completely explain stuff to each other. You have to give each other, an eye, or like a slap on the back, or like a good like reinforcement, like let's go. And so people, I think in the media take that the wrong way, but I think in the moment you have your one thing you need to say and you need to get across clearly.
What age does that kick in? Like when teams start to get like that, where there's that kind of communication? Because you don't see it obviously when you're like under 10, under 11, things like that. Is it high school?
I think that high school is a little bit more confidence building, where it's like, okay, like we can do, like everything's okay, like you're great.
Yeah.
And then as
good
you
job.
as you get into college, you start to trend in more of a getting on each other, holding each other accountable, right?
Yeah.
Accountability is a big thing. And as forwards, if one of us is not scoring a goal, I'm not happy, right?
Yeah.
If one of us is not a part of goals, I'm not happy. And that's not only my ego and my competitiveness, but as a veteran forward, I want our forwards to be scoring more goals than our midfielders, because that's the way it should be.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not about competing against them, but it's also that's our job, and we need to be good at our job for our team to win games and win World Cups and championships.
You guys, we talked like I think 2 years ago, and we were talking about growing up playing a bunch of sports versus what's happening now, where it's like a soccer factory. And both of you guys feel really passionate about when somebody's younger that they should be doing a whole bunch of things. So start with your experiences.
I mean, I played all different sports growing up, basketball, softball, volleyball, and I feel like that helped me grow to be like not only the player I am today, but the person, and helped me gain a lot of just friendships throughout that time. And I think at the right time I started focusing on soccer. I didn't play club soccer until I was 13 years old, but it's very individual to what the person needs. I mean, I didn't want to get burnt out, and I didn't want to focus on one sport. I felt like I had a short attention span. I didn't necessarily want to put that all in soccer. And then,
but your dad wanted you to play softball, right?
Oh, he was a big baseball guy. Yeah. So he wanted me to play softball when I was younger. And finally, like 9 or 10 years old, I was like, Dad, softball's just not going to cut it. I think I played 1 year of club or travel ball.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. I gave him his chance. And I was like, all right, now you got to learn soccer. And so he took ref classes. He took coaching classes.
Oh, he got into it.
Oh, yeah. He wouldn't go to my games when I was younger. And then once I told him soccer is a sport I love, he was like, okay, fine. So then he like took his wall down and was like, all right, soccer it is. I'm going to have to just shed a little tear, put baseball to the side. And I loved it. I mean, I'll walk in to the front door and he'll be watching some Serie A game in Italy. Like, he doesn't even know the two teams playing, but he just wants to learn the game. So he could talk to me about the game.
That's great.
And you play hoops and a whole bunch of stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the youngest of 7, so I grew up playing all sports, whether it was baseball, t-ball, swam in my swimming pool, my parents' swimming pool all summer long, basketball during the winter time, soccer during high school, and then during the summer times as well. It's like whatever I could do to stay busy, that's what I was doing. And I attribute so much of my ability to head the ball well to playing basketball. And my basketball coach being really kind of hard on me. I was a small forward, so I had to box out and rebound. And every time that ball hits the rim, you gotta plan for your jump. You gotta time your jump. You gotta see the arc of the ball and the trajectory of the ball.
Right.
You know, so there's a lot of things that go into basketball as it pertains to rebounding that really correlate with heading a ball and reading the flight of the ball and timing your jump. And obviously, heading is obviously different than catching a basketball. But
right. But that makes sense, though. The physics of it is similar.
Totally.
The way your brain has to work.
And I wish I could say that I was so smart in high school that I was playing basketball to be a world-class header, but the reality is one thing just led to another. And playing on this team, you know, I always say that having somebody being able to cross the ball to my head is a skill that I can't necessarily do for them. They have to be good at it. So my teammates have to put me in positions to score goals with my head.
Yeah, that's a big controversy now about whether kids should be allowed to head the ball or not. And it seems like, just from my own experiences watching the team, it seems like some girls know how to do it and some don't. And if you don't know how to do it, maybe you shouldn't do it. But
I think there's a learning curve. I don't
thing.
think it's something you have or you don't. I mean,
you don't think so?
I think there's a learning
Tense in the neck muscles. It seems like either instinctively.
I think you have to be taught how to do it. It's not like you just have it or you don't. I mean, some people are naturally gifted more than others, but there's a learning curve involved. I mean, I think I've gotten a lot better at heading the ball, and some people just don't head the ball because they just don't want to.
So when do you think people should start learning then?
I think it has to be a decision that the kid and the parent have this discussion.
Yeah.
You know, there's all these products out there. I work with companies that with this company Triax, that's like a headband that actually measures and tracks head impacts, and it gives a parent an opportunity to see on their smartphone if maybe an impact was too much for them, right? So there's so much technology now, but the most important thing is if your kid is really athletic and they want to learn something, take them to a good coach that knows the proper techniques of heading, because in my opinion, courage is one of the number one things about going up and heading a ball.
Yeah.
If you're attacking a ball and you're actually making contact rather than the ball making contact with you, you're initiating the contact. All of your muscles are now engaged for your neck to be strong, for your back to be strong, for your legs and everything to be in the right form, so that when you do make contact, your brain isn't now jiggling inside of your skull. You're actually now promoting the ball to go in a different direction, and that has to be a decision and a discussion between parent and athlete to make sure that they are developed, their bodies developed properly enough so that they can take whatever size soccer ball that they're working with, because there is absolutely, if it is a question at all, don't do it, right? But for me, I was this youngster, this really, you know, I was courageous, you know, jumping off of things at a really young age and loved that kind of thing. I like to take risks, and heading a soccer ball was one of my favorite parts of playing the game.
When did you feel comfortable?
I mean, at a young age, I don't know, 10, 11, 12. When did I get good at it? I don't remember.
2012 against Canada.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't even say that was a great header. It
was a great header.
It went right over the keeper's
It was a great header.
She's the queen of headers. She's blessing it.
I mean, the perfect touch. You know, maybe you didn't mean to do it exactly like that, but it was the perfect touch, and I was there.
Don't throw me under the bus there.
I even told you that I was in love with you in that moment, because partly I was jealous that you scored on a header and it wasn't me, but secondly, I was really glad that we go through to the final.
Yeah.
Do you get jealous when other people have perfect header opportunities?
I don't get jealous. I have admiration. Heather O'Reilly just scored one yesterday in training, a diving header, and I'm just like slow clapping it, you know, just like, gosh, that's amazing, because she's is not the person on our team that ever heads the ball, period, let alone go for a diving header and score on it. So it was cool.
So what would you, if you could give advice to the youth soccer culture, like things you wish they did differently? Because now it's like so many people play soccer, and I think even now with football, youth football is kind of, it's not dying, but I think a lot less people are pushing their kids that way, and more people are going to soccer. What are the things that you wish that culture did that they're not doing right now? We talked about kids playing a bunch of sports. Yeah. Is there anything else like that you wish they did?
I definitely think that kids should play multiple sports. Parents have to be smarter than the average bear than to just put their kid in a year-round sport because the club is holding them hostage to do so. Really what the club is saying is we want more money from you. And I think that it's really important for you to take care of your kids, to develop them athletically on a spectrum, right? To not give them one sport to do, because no kid wants to do one thing all the time.
Yeah.
Think about that, right? And then also think about what you're now not allowing them to do is develop completely athletically. Because for the most part, parents have to get it into their minds that their kids are probably not going to play professional sports.
Right.
Yes, they may go to college and play sports, which is great, but they need to prepare their kids for post-college and what to do then, and not necessarily pigeonhole themselves into one specific sport that they're versed in all sports.
You agree with that?
I agree, but I also think that it's important for the kid to love what they do. And for me, like I loved all the different sports. I loved playing volleyball, and I didn't want to give that up too soon. And I feel like I did have pressure from my club soccer team and my high school soccer team to quit volleyball, but I didn't want to at that time. So I didn't, and I don't feel like at the end of the day there were repercussions, but there was pressure at the time. And I think at the end of the day, the kid has to love it and has to be vocal about what he or she wants to do. Because if your parents are pushing you into a sport that you don't even love at the age of 13 or 14, when are you going to love it?
Right. You were talking before we started taping, you were saying how there was a game on, and you were talking about how when you were growing up, and I don't know if this was the case for you, because it probably was too, but like there just wasn't a lot of soccer on. And the soccer that was on, we weren't watching on these wide TVs in HD where you could see the field. It was like a square. The picture wasn't that good.
College is probably the first time I started really paying attention to international soccer. And women's international soccer, probably late college or once I got on the national team and started scouting other teams, which is, 6 years ago? Not that long ago.
So you're becoming like an All-American, and soccer's you're not even watching it.
No, and people don't realize that there's so many pioneers of not just our game, but women's sports in general, that back in the day, I'm watching the NBA basketball, not the WNBA because it wasn't around. I'm watching male athletes as my idols and trying to be like Mike, so to speak, you know what I mean? And now I think it's so cool because you have women across all different sports that are playing your sport at a professional level. They're doing that without having to hold another job. It gives me a lot of gratification because I feel like I've been a part of that on some level, and I think that Alex is going to take it to the complete next level in terms of her ability to affect and inspire young players to do what we do, and it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be a part of women's sports, and I'm really excited to see what Alex does with the rest of her career.
Well, it seems like these last 4 years, most of your games have been on TV, right? Pretty much every Team USA game in some capacity was on some channel, whereas like the Mia Hamm team, everyone remembers the 99 World Cup, but I don't remember watching them like even twice other than those 99 games,
Honestly, I've only been on the team for 6 years or so. Abby's been on a lot longer than me, but even when I came on to this team, we weren't drawing a lot of fans per se at our games, and it was pretty uncommon to have one of our games on TV. So this is a very recent thing.
Yeah.
Within the last 5 years.
Since 2011,
yeah. 2011.
Do you like it? It must give you a little, or does it not even matter? I mean, does it give you a little extra edge, or would you have had the same edge anyway? Like it's like, hey, some random friendly, but it's on ESPN too.
Yeah, no, we take what we do seriously, whether it's on TV or not. Yeah. You see a little bit more makeup on the girls when it's a TV game. Truth be told.
Hey, you can't be giving away the secrets.
How do you wear makeup without sweat? Don't you sweat it off?
There's a new line coming up.
Is
this
that Abby's creating?
That I'm creating because I've seen it happen in the time. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding about the line coming out, but I'm not creating it.
Was there a big game where anybody in the other team had like so much makeup on that you guys were like making fun of her like under your breath?
No, I mean there's some, but the reality is like whether we are playing on TV or not, it's
the same level of intensity.
It's an honor to wear the crest.
It is, and it's great to have our family be able to watch us if they're not at the game.
I was going to say, it must be cool to have every family member.
I swear, my mom following on Twitter, she hates saying things.
It's like because grass grow, my mom calls it.
Yeah, it's like watching grass grow. So being able to watch our games on TV and DVR, it's pretty awesome for our family to be able to follow us.
Well, people think you've won a World Cup. I think some people think that, but you never actually won one.
I know.
And this is like, you're 34.
I know, this is my last go-around.
Is it definitely the last go-around?
For the World Cup, for sure.
For sure?
Yeah.
I don't think you could ever say that. Come on.
I feel 34. Like if anyone could go to late 30s, you could do it.
Yeah, no, I've played this game for 29 years. I think that...
you think that's enough?
I'm going to be ready, hopefully, after we win a World Cup. But the reality for me is I have a lot of other things that I want to do in my life, and my body is aging, and I'm getting older. And
tell us what's aging. What are you feeling? Do you feel it more like after practice? Like what do you feel is different?
when people like Alex come on the scene and they just can like run so fast, and I just like I'm okay.
Okay, I'm pretty sure you were like Speedy Gonzalez when you scored that goal against Switzerland, and you chipped the keeper from like 25 yards out.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying that I'm not a good soccer player anymore. I'm saying that A, there's other things I want to do, start a family, the whole bit, and B, there's always a time for not necessarily the passing of the torch, but I've tried my very best and done my very best with this team, and there's always a time that you need to walk away and hand over the reins to somebody else. And Alex, I've seen her grow immensely from the time that she got on this team in 2009, 2010, and who she is now in terms of her professionalism, her desire, and her push is I'm so proud because, you know, like when you pick a horse at the horse races, I feel like I put my money on Alex, and she's proven me right in every possible way. And I'm excited to see where her career could go.
So the responsibility of that position, it's not just like the media responsibility, right? Where it's like you're the face of stuff, you got to do these interviews, you got to spend time with reporters, you got to do things like this. But a huge chunk of that is just work ethic, practice after practice after practice, right?
Yeah, it's the 10,000 hour rule.
So when did you think she got there?
I think that Alex, and the beauty of what I know about Alex is that she will never think that she's gotten there. And that's what makes a great player. That's what makes...
You were kind of like that too, right?
Exactly, and that's what makes somebody play for years after years after years, because their limits completely... when you surpass a goal, when you surpass your limits, you then reset them higher. And that's who I've known and have learned Alex to become, and that's something that brings me a lot of joy, because that's what I always said. One of my favorite things about soccer is that I never will know how good I will be or how good I could be, because it's always that little bit more that you could possibly be doing. And you have to change your outlook and your mindset as you grow older, because maybe you slow down a little bit physically, but maybe you can speed up mentally, and maybe you can help the other people around you who can physically do things that maybe you once were able to do. So there's a lot of factors that are involved, and I'm just I'm pleased with the way that Alex has kind of grown, and you know how she deals with the media, and how she deals with fans, and how she deals with stuff like this, and her endorsements, and playing still. You know, there's a lot of pressure when you sign deals and you have fans, millions of them, on your Twitter, and then you have to go out and prove it, right? And it takes a special personality, and Alex absolutely has all those parts.
So you ready for all this?
Oh gosh, pressure's on now. Yeah, I mean, Abby's been a great leader for this team. Obviously, she's the person that I look up to, and I look to for guidance and for a little bit of confidence sometimes as well. So I'm really excited for this year, because you know I really do think we're the best team to go out there and be at the top of the podium at the end of the day. And it is crazy to me that this person right here has never won a World Cup. That is mind-blowing to me, with the records that she's broken and everything she's done for this team. She totally deserves a World Cup. So that's that's on our mind this year. It doesn't matter about, you know, what's next or Olympics after that or anything like that. It's all about what comes in June.
And you guys have had your coaches now, your old coaches now in Sweden. Then you had another coach, now you have the current coach. So you've had 3 coaches in the last 4 years. Does that matter?
I mean, all 3 coaches have really been, they've really brought different styles of play. And I think, Pia was with us for a good amount of time. And Jill was also as an assistant coach with Pia. So we've known Jill for quite a while. So I think we feel really good going into the World Cup, and we know she knows what she can expect out of us, and we know how to push ourselves. And so, to a certain degree, I think a coach is a very important part of a team. But I think at the end of the day, the players on the field, and those 23 players going to the World Cup are the ones that matter.
Yeah, I think that as a player, we've had multiple coaches, and I've had many coaches, right? I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coaches now on this team. And what makes this team so great isn't necessarily the dictatorial coach. It's always about the team chemistry and how we relate who we are, personalities, formations, to what the coaches need specifically. And Pia pushed us to a certain level, and Tom pushed us to a certain level, and now it's Jill's job to take us that extra step so that we can actually be on that top podium. And I think that it's really important that people understand as players, it's about playing the very best soccer, because gone are the days that we're going to have a 4 or 5-0 World Cup game, right? It's going to be close. It's going to be the fine details that matter. And we won't be able to play poorly for 90 straight minutes and be able to do well in our World Cup. We have to at least string together a solid 45 minutes. It doesn't mean we have to play perfect, but we have to be solid. And then, of course, for certain moments, have that moment where we've had so many times before. Alex scores in the Olympics. We score against Brazil in 2011. Those are the moments that create the confidence of a team. And I think it's important that people understand that, no disrespect to any coaches that we've had, it's always the players on the field that make that happen.
Yeah.
So when I was at practice today, I was just watching everybody, and you just stand out. And I'm like an inch taller than you.
Thank you.
But physically on the field, you stand out, and it seems like that in every game. Is there anyone else like her? Just when you see them on the field, is there players on other teams that you feel like, because this has been the case with you?
There's a couple girls out there. A girl on the Swedish team, Neela Fischer. There's a girl on the New Zealand team as well.
I don't know about a forward, though.
Not a forward.
That is so dominant.
Because there is a little bit of an intimidation factor with you.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that there is. And, as of late, it's so weird, because maybe when you get older, you think that you earned a certain level of respect that nobody should come in dirty on you.
Right. You haven't earned that yet?
Evidently, because we played against England, and this girl came in so dirty, and I saw red for a second. I was like, wait, I'm not a fighter here. Right. I wanted to fight her hot for a hot second.
That's when it's my job to come in and be like, you need to calm down.
Yes.
We're fine.
Yes.
We're about to score.
We hold each other accountable in that way. She had a moment against Iceland, and I had a moment against England. But the reality is the intimidation factor, I'm going to play it up. It's funny because my teammates know me well enough and know how I play. That's the one thing that's so hard about practicing against some of the other best players in the world.
Yeah.
Our second team could probably place in the top 4 of a World Cup. That's how deep we are. That's where most of our strength lies, and not many people understand that. So Jill's been switching up the lineups quite a bit, because there's 7 times 90-minute games, right? That's a lot of
turf.
A lot of minutes on turf. So we're going to have a lot of games where players come in and are switched out so that we can save ourselves, because our plan is to go to Game 7.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter if you win 4 games and then lose, right? We want to win the 7th game. That's our goal. And our coaching staff is preparing us for that. And I think it's so important that no matter what happens on the field, that if we have each other's backs and we can push each other in a positive way, I don't know if a team can beat us, honestly.
I forgot to ask you about the turf thing, because that was really annoying. I mean, I know
Still
that
is
that
annoying.
battle
Yeah,
is
I mean, that's
that
what we're training on
lost,
now
but
every day.
Yeah, I was on
watching
there
training.
today. Turf sucks. I mean,
Turf does suck.
it's a little
Turf
faster,
sucks.
but it's
we need T-shirts.
It's bad for your body.
#turf
How did you guys lose that battle?
I like that idea.
Why didn't I get involved? I wish I'd gotten involved. I hate turf.
Yep.
It's terrible for you.
It is terrible. We
And there's no changing it now, right? It's too late.
No, we filed a lawsuit against FIFA and the Canadian Soccer Association, but they were slow playing it because in the legal world, we filed a little bit too late. So,
well, once they said that it was going to be on turf, you have a certain amount of time to file a lawsuit or protest it, and it was supposedly a little bit later than that. But and then there were some times where they said that they were speaking with each other, speaking with us, which didn't quite happen to our records, at least. So
it would have been what, like $4 million or something, $5 million?
Not that much. And a lot of grass companies came up and said that they would offer to put in grass for free.
It was the principle for FIFA that they weren't going to back down to us.
This is why we need a sports czar. I feel like the sports czar could have come in, maybe solve the situation, because I'm sure like those 7 games in 3 weeks?
3.5, yeah.
You're going to be feeling it.
It's going to hurt.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
I mean, no matter what, 7 games in 3 weeks on any type of surface, you're going to be feeling it by that 5th, 6th, 7th game. But on turf, your body aches.
But not only, and that's my thing, is it's not even just the aches, it's the actual injuries that can happen.
Oh, yeah.
And what you're doing...
There was just an injury the other day in the MLS.
Yeah, what you're doing is you're putting some of these next generation stars at risk for potentially having a shorter career.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. And we aren't saying, hey, look, every game we play on needs to be on a natural grass surface. We're not saying that. We're saying for our World Cup, that would have been the right thing to do.
It's once every 4 years. I mean,
for the biggest tournament, for football.
It's a frustrating thing, but at this point, the battle has been lost, and we have to make the best of it. So, yes, we're not happy with it, but there's one thing about complaining about something that can't be changed. That's not the type of team we are.
Right.
We're all playing on it, and we got to get used to it.
But at the end of the day, we hope that the fight that we put up makes it so we never play on turf in a World Cup again.
They promised me that.
So this is a very important question. The Cup is now how many months away? 2.5?
75 days.
What do you need from us, from the rest of America? What do you want from us? How can we help?
Great question.
Yeah, what do you want from us? What do you want us to do? Other than watch the games. Come to Canada. What else? Support you? I mean, what can we do?
You know what is important? I know that the United States is going to back us and support us. What I will say is that for me, no matter what, is like the most gratifying thing is those videos in the bars that people are watching, that people are skipping work. Sorry, employers.
Or watching it at work.
Yeah, or watching at work. Like, those are the things.
So you love those. You love the YouTube video after you scored.
Those are amazing things, because we like to see the positive effect that we can have on our country, right? We like to see, 15-year-old boys coming up to me after the World Cup in 2011 saying, like, I want to be a women's pro soccer player one day. Those are the moments that make us know that the soccer, because there's so much that is involved. The sacrifice, the traveling, the missing proms and graduations and funerals and birthdays and all of the things.
Relationships.
Yeah, relationships, whatever it is. It's a hard job. We would never trade it for another one because we love what we do. But we just want people to join in on the fun ride we're about to go on, because it's going to be fun. And I promise you, can't promise you a championship, but I promise you, we will not disappoint you. We won't do anything that's going to make you feel like, oh man, I wish I rooted for another team. That's what
we don't really have another team.
I mean, the truth is sometimes people become fair weather fans and root for the winners, right?
Gamblers.
Yeah, exactly.
Gamblers.
Vegas.
I like Japan. Good odds.
Yeah.
Does the Women's Pro League have a chance coming out of this, you think?
Coming out of
the Cup, like the momentum? Because they always say, coming out of World Cups, they always say it's going to lead to momentum.
Last World Cup, I mean, we had 1,000% increase in our fans at the games after the World Cup and into the end of the season. But now we have the NWSL, and I think it's a great opportunity. Obviously, in Portland, the team I play with, we average 14,000 a game. So
that's excellent.
That's pretty awesome. But I think we need to see that throughout the league. And so I think if we do our job on the field, then it's going to be a given that fans will want to keep following us and watching us after. And I think what's so great about having the league is during the World Cup, they could find their favorite player, and then they continue after the World Cup, and
Right.
they watch their favorite player, and they're a fan of the team, of Portland or whatever team, because of their favorite player, and they're an adamant fan of that player, and I think that's really cool. I think you see that a lot in Europe in the men's side, and I think I want to see that on the women's side.
Well, worst case scenario, just put two teams in Portland and Seattle, and then just have them constantly play each other because they love their soccer over there.
Yeah, right.
All right, good luck. I'll probably
so
see you
much.
in Canada. I plan on
Yes.
taking my little lady
Well,
to
you
some
better.
games.
Good.
Our game
That's
against
good.
Sweden is sold out, so
Well,
that's
part
exciting.
of it's against the NBA Finals, which is a problem for me.
Bummer.
But then after the NBA Finals, I'm in. I'm in on Team USA. Good
NBA
luck.
Finals is every year. World Cup comes every 4 years.
I know. But have you seen the NBA this year? It's a really good season. So I'm going to juggle. I'm going to do both. I'm taking your advice. I'm juggling sports.
Perfect.
Multi-sport. All right, thank you.
Thanks
Good
for
luck.
having us
Good luck
on.
in the World Cup.
Appreciate it.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Podcenter at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.
Geico presents Strange Savings Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.